Jane, thank you for the introduction. Like you said, my name is Percy Adumakon Ajekum of Food and Drugs Authority. Food and Drugs Authority mandate is to ensure the safety of the general public on regulated products. And we are very happy to partner Famous Advisory, whose duty is to render service to some of our clients who engage in the registration of their products. Therefore, we are happy to join you in sharing our processes, going through some of the challenges that we've also observed the clients go through, and see how we could bridge the gap so that at the end of the day, the process will become easier, less cumbersome and tedious for them. And once they get their product registered, everybody will also be happy to know that the products are on the market meet the safety standards, and also generally the public are assured of the safety of the products on our market. So once again, thank you and good morning to your listeners and viewership. Yes, we will start by going through the objective why Food and Drugs Authority have been set up. So generally, a lot of even Ghanaians sometimes confuse our function with other regulatory bodies or standard agencies whose mandate sort of come closer to ours. So I'll use this platform to set the base. Our setup by the law, what we are set to do, the functions, then now we zoom on to the main reason why we are here, to deal with the processes of the registration. So Food and Drugs Board is an agency of the Ministry of Health, and it was established by an Act of Parliament in 1992 by PND's Law 305B. The objective is to provide and enforce standard for the sale of food, herbal medicinal products, cosmetics, drugs, medical devices, and household chemical substances. The FDA has, through its journey, have gone through the review of this particular PND's Law 305B to a new one which came into force in 2012, the Public Health Act 851. The Public Health Act 851 is the main piece of legislation concerning Public Health Act in Ghana. And it's an act of parliament, which means that it's a law passed by Parliament of Ghana. It's an enabling act, and by enabling act, what it means is that the act or the law gives powers to the Ministry of Health to make other regulations, guidelines, directives, and even offer opinions on issues related to our regulated product. It is not static. It tells you that the law is a living law. It can be changed, it can be reviewed, it can be updated to in line with meeting trends on regulated products. It repealed and replaced the Food and Drugs Law 305B, like I stated earlier, and its assent or took effect in 9th of October 2012. The objective of the review is to consolidate the law relating to public health, to prevent diseases, promote, safeguard, and maintain the health of humans and animals, and to provide related matters. Before the Public Health Act, PND's Law 305B have a lot of scattered laws that regulate food and other products that FDA regulates. Therefore, the objective of the Public Health Act is to harmonize, bring all these laws together so that in dealing with matters of food safety and other regulated FDA products, there could be clarity, the overlap of laws, all these things will be streamlined. So that is the main objective of this act. That's why I said that it is the main piece of legislation concerning public health in Ghana. Now let's look at some of the aspects of the law. Part 6 deals with tobacco control measures, which falls under our regulation, and also Part 7, obviously the reason why we are here, food and drugs, and also clinical trials. Our work also, we do clinical trials at the other section of the FDA department. We also do drug regulation, tobacco, and other substances of abuse. Our functions. Our function principally is to ensure adequate and effective standard in regulating food, cosmetics, household chemicals, and the rest, and also to monitor through the district assemblies and any other agencies of state in compliance with the provisions of this part. Like I said earlier, the objective of the public effort is to consolidate the laws. It doesn't mean that you can actually have all the laws under one umbrella. There are still some few other agencies whose mandates still come in line with what you do. That is why we, as part of the function, we have to liaise with them so that we can also regulate. So, for example, if you look at basically the sale of ready-to-eat food, sale of products on our general markets, our local markets, indigenous markets, you could observe that the market is owned by the district assemblies. So therefore, through FDA and collaboration with the district assemblies, we're able to collaborate and ensure that the product that they sell there meets the standards, the general high sanitation at the markets, and the chobas and other things are in line with the mandate that we set to do. And also, as an agency of Ministry of Health, FDA works constantly and advises the minister on matters that relate to the product we register. It could be drugs, could be food, and it could be any other products. Let's pick specifically some of the sections of the Public Health Act that deals with registration of products, which I know most of our audience, that's where your interests are. Section 97, subsection A, states that a person shall not manufacture, import, export, distribute, sell, or supply food or expose food for sale unless the authority has registered the food. If you look at this definition, you can clearly see that food safety and our mandate starts from farm to fork. So what it means is that a person shall not manufacture, import, export, distribute, it also includes retailing, sell, or supply food or expose food for sale unless the authority has registered the food. It does also not mean that if product is not product that do not necessarily have to register should also not be safe, or that's also not fall under our work. For example, even if you're offering food as a voluntary, as a free of charge to charity and other things, it is still subject to our regulation because our mandate is to ensure that the food should be safe. Even products that you, if you cook ordinary in your own home and there's a suspicion of food poisoning, why do you report to the police? It's because you don't owe your own life. And food safety issues are very serious that any country take it, don't joke with it. Therefore, in that context, when we are saying that the food is to be manufactured, import, does not mean that if you are not manufacturing the food, if you are not selling, or if not offer the food for distribution, it does not mean that you can deal with food issues anyway. It is still subject to the laws. Section 2 also give room for the purposes of processed food, especially this one goes with import. Though by the law, you cannot import unless the product is registered. Practically, you need to register the product before you can sell. Therefore, the law allows you, the procedure allows you to import some few samples for the purpose of registration so that once you get the legal market authorization, you can go ahead and sell your product. And how do you do the registration? You made application to the Food and Drug Authority through the CEO, and then all the other requirements which you go through when you go down FDA is satisfied. The CEO is satisfied that you've met all the safety requirements, legal requirements, and any other requirements, then you give you the market authorization. The authority shall register the food if it is satisfied, like I said, that the food you've submitted for registration meets the prescribed standards. Please take note of certain words, standards, because we get into details when we during the processes. Prescribed standards, operations for the food complies with. Yeah, so if after submitting your application, if the authority feels satisfied that you met the required standards and all your operation in terms of the facility where you do your manufacturing, the GMP requirements, you've met them, then FDA will have no reason to restrict you marketing your product. So FDA achieve its mandates through the following three broad areas. One, ensuring the absence of hazards, and hazard could be biological, physical, chemical, and these are the indicators that gives that shows whether your product is safe. By biological, it means that microorganisms like E. coli, which we know is dangerous. If you look like Salmonella and even the general APC, beyond certain level, it might cause food poisoning to the general public. So we check the composition of the product is free from biological agent. And physical also means that, for example, if you take products like rice, cereals, maize, and those things, they don't contain stones and other things, so that as you eat, you do not harm your teeth. And also chemical which are also inherent. It could be aflatoxins, which is generally known is associated with our cereals, notably maize. It could also be pesticide residue coming from the agronomical or agricultural practices from our farms. How have they been followed? So that when we test all these things, we use sensitive instruments to test, and we are satisfied that the product is safe, then we can take a decision on it. Now, we also have to deal with the issue of labeling. Labeling is also principally or primarily is the only means through which a purchaser will be buyer of a product can make an informed decision at the point of purchase. At the point you are buying food for consumption, really you cannot know the composition either through organoleptic. It is through the labeling that gives you all the information that you needed, including the ingredient that constitute the product, if it is a compound product, including also the issue to do with allergens, things that you eat that gives you reactions, like some people don't like meat, eggs, and those things. All these things, some products require that it is declared, and you must have all this information. The labeling also gives you a means of, for example, if the company is doing some promotions, maybe you buy one, if the weight is 10 grams, maybe 1 gram free. All these things are there on the labeling. Therefore, the labeling is very crucial to the consumer, and we pray that both clients and consumers, when you are either producing your product or you are consuming it, you take detailed attention of the labeling before you do. It also gives you the shelf life, date markings, batch number, and all those things, and also who is actually responsible for the product in terms of the manufacturer, in terms of the distributor. All those things are important and on the label. And then labeling also, so with your label also meet the general labeling rules per the laws, per your claims and all other things, then we can be satisfied that the packaging of the product is okay. Now, you can also look at on the label issue to do with nutritional quality of the food. Though nutritional labeling is not mandatory at the moment in our regulation, but very soon we are working towards there. It is, some products have the nutritional information there. So, for example, this is also very crucial to us. People who are managing weight and those things, you have to read the label, especially the nutritional information section, to look at the calories that you are taking, the fat content, the protein, the carbohydrate. All these things are put up on the nutrition information. So take note of them. And then there are some information that, as a matter of national policy, are supposed to be on some regulated product. For example, if you look at products like flour, oil, and then salt. By national policy, they are supposed to be fortified, and fortification comes with specific logos that are supposed to be displayed on such labels. So all these things are, the clients are supposed to take note. If your products are of this nature, then please make sure that you get the logos and put them there. And as you put them there, the composition or the content of the label that you declared must also back with scientific data to justify the claim. So all these things will come down again as we go through the process. So in summary, the labeling, what do you call it? The mandate will, in summary, is to do the safety, as I've said, the compositional issues, so chemical, microbial, and all those things. Legality, also the labeling, but some compositional issue also have a legal effect because the safety are a legal issue. So let's take note of that. If somebody take a food that is contaminated and it is laced with adulterated, unallowed chemicals and other things, you are also breaching the law. So let's take note of that, and also the quality. Now let's go on to the registration requirements. So we've simplified them because of we may have two audiences here. We have those whose duties to businesses is to do with import, and those who are to deal with local. The grouping does not necessarily mean composition, they are different, they are the same. But for the ease of the application of and also understand our processes, that's how we put them this way. So principally, like I said earlier, the application for the purpose of registration is applied to the Chief Executive Officer in writing, and some of the documentation that you must add to the application are the certificate of business registration. FDA deals with legal entity. We don't deal with individuals, so you must have a company to be able to do business with us. If you come and don't have it, we take you to the process, we advise you, and you get them, and then we continue. You also bring certificate for analysis. The certificate for analysis actually gives a verdict of the composition of the product, which is the safety and the quality, as I explained earlier. So, for example, if you bring the product, the certificate of analysis could be microbiology, as I explained earlier, and the physicochemical, which is the issue of if it's a product requires moisture, which requires aflatoxin testing, which requires pesticide residue, which requires rancidity. All these things will be the chemical one, and depending on the nature of the product, FDA has spelled out specific parameters in relation to a particular product, food product, and its category that should be met. And also, how many samples do you need to bring? There's a sample schedules also are available as part of the registration process. All these information are on our website, our client services, and all the 10 and will be 16 regional offices that you can have access to them. And also documentation. Like I said, labeling should be seen to be credible, truth, so that, for example, if you've made some claims on your label, like low in cholesterol, or cholesterol free, or calcium, high in calcium, rich in this, you must compositionally have the scientific basis in making those claims. Therefore, you must submit additional documentation to substantiate that. If you are also in the business of trading in products like rice, the general regulation requires that you must come with phytosanitary documentation to indicate that all the processes that the rice have gone through the agricultural process in the farm, and it's also safe for general consumption. So all this information, additional documentation, depending on the product in context and in nature, must also be provided as part of the registration process. And of course, you pay the appropriate registration fee. FDA fees are set by Parliament, which we can't alter. So we always go strictly as per Parliament approves it. So the current fees and charges of the Miscellaneous Provision Instrument 2019, which came into force 1st January 2020, is LI 2386. So please take note of this. It's also on our website, so that those who normally want to inquire about this are your charges or fees. All this information are available, and it's on the website. So you pay the various fees are staggered. For example, for the those who bring large volumes of, especially imported products or the door-to-door products, which we regulate. For the first 30 products, you pay 150 cedis per year, and our registration is 3 years. So you pay 450 cedis for the 3 years for each of the first 3 products. And if we move beyond 30, go to 31, for each of the products within the 500 products, you pay 120 multiplied by 3 will give you, I think, 360 for the 3 years and the rest. Apart from the fee, and there is also a special dispensation for our cottage industry, which we cherish so much, which are now doing everything to bring their products to the quality level that will meet the market standard as required by Ghanaian consumers. Their fees are also down so that they could also register their products. So, for example, for a cottage industry, the facility that we inspect attracts 120 Ghana cedis for a year, small scale 240, medium scale 500, and large scale 8. And all this information are available on our website and our general offices. And site verification fee for products outside Africa, 7,500 cedis, and then products within Africa, outside West Africa, for those category high-risk products is 4,000, and all products from Nigeria 4,000 cedis. So this is also the requirement for our local products. I will not repeat them. The general issue to deal with, letter, application, the law, everything the same. The only difference here is that in terms of the charges for the cottage industry, the product registration is 50 cedis, like I said, a year. So 150 cedis for 3 years. So 50 cedis renewable every year. For small scale, 200, and 300 cedis for medium, and large scale, 600 cedis. Now we come to labeling. I've spoken at length about that, but I will still pick them. Like I said, labeling provides information about products. It also educates consumers about the food they buy. It helps consumers to make informed choice. Like I said earlier, it is the only means, the only tool you have at the point of purchase is the labeling that will enable you to do, and helps consumers store and use products. So how to use the product? Some products require that by its nature, the label should tell you how to use it and how to store it. So the labeling provides you all those information. And the labeling of prepared food shall, let me quote this one, the general principle is that prepared food shall not be described or presented on any label or in a labeling in a manner that is false, misleading, deceptive, is likely to create an erroneous impression that the food is not in the nature as intended by the manufacturer. All that we say that, like I said earlier, labeling is only means available to a consumer or a purchaser of a product to make an informed decision. Therefore, what kind of information are we put on the label? Is it credible? Is it truthful? Is it an information that will be adequate, that will be accurate, so that if somebody is reacts to a certain particular product like fish, like eggs, like gluten in wheat and others, will you give that person enough information to make that decision? That's why we're saying that it should be very truthful, it should be accurate, it should not bring any shred of ambiguity or doubt in the minds of a consumer. That, for example, if I'm buying product and the product is A, I'm not buying product like A, like C, no. So we should take note of that. And these are we go through some of the issues and the challenges that the manufacturers go through. For example, if you take the label of the product, what are some of the things that you see? The label of a product, we are supposed to see the product name. And by the product name, usually can be usually the brand name. It tells you what the product is. So, for example, if I'm buying a cereal, and it's a cereal, the product after whatever brand name you give, I should have the word cereal on it to indicate that it's a cereal. If, for example, the product is water, you are supposed to see water. If it is rice, you are supposed to see rice. Whatever brand name you give, we don't have problem with it, except certain product when you get there whose name actually bring problem because of public sensitivity and other things. So every product you pick, there should be a name as defined by law. Is it rice? Is it water? Is it cereal mix? Is it oil? That is it. And you should also supposed to see the list of ingredients. Very crucial. That gives a composition declaration of what the product is. Some products by its nature are single ingredient. For that one, you do not necessarily have to put them there. So for example, if you see rice, rice is rice. But if you see, for example, cereal mix definitely tells you that it's a compound formulated product. You may have a combination of cereals like rice, like soya beans, yes, and those like. Therefore, the ingredients should come out with all those information so that you can actually see the composition, including the additives. The additives could be the preservatives. Yes, the preservatives. They are all supposed to be declared as part of the ingredient listing. And then the nutrition information, like I stated earlier, if you have the nutrition information there, then by law you are supposed to declare them in a manner that brings clarity to the consumer. If you declare the 7 sizes, like 35 grams per 100, if you have all those things, they are supposed to be there. And sometimes, let's take a note here, some of the companies, the mistake they make is that they might put one or two, maybe highlight one or two ingredients and leave the rest. The rules is that, for example, if you say your product contains high protein, the rules is that you must go ahead and declare all the other mandatory nutrients and substantiate them. And the mandatory nutrients is the energy, the protein, the fats, the carbohydrates, of fish sugar. All these things might be declared and do the laboratory analysis to substantiate that whatever quantity that you declared on the label is actually compositionally what is right per the analysis. And then also, like I said, some products may need usage instruction, how you to prepare them. So for example, it is a cereal, is it supposed to be cooked? Is it supposed to be taken straight away? What quantity of water or this you take, they must be clearly spelled out. And then manufacturer details. Who is the one responsible for in manufacturing the product? You need the name of the manufacturer, the physical address, the contact address. All these things are necessary. For the purposes of labeling, you could have both manufacturing and then other postal address for imported products. Whichever we put there is okay. But for the purpose of our own local products, we need both. You have to physically have the facility address or location on the product in addition to any. Tomorrow, you do another one, can make it 002, so that in the event something happened to your brand of that product, and we can clearly identify which particular one have the issue, take them off without actually destroying all your products. So please, our cottage industry should take note of this bargaining system. It's not complex, just make it simple. All that you need is keep the records, so that if anything happens, through that you can trace and help you deal with it. So in summary, the labeling, we are supposed to see the list of ingredients, the net weight, instructions for use if necessary, indication of minimum durability, which is the date, shelf life or the expiry date, storage condition, how it should be stored, name and address of manufacturer, country of origin of the product, food allergens. That is, if you have the nature of your product or the constituent of the product is such that certain allergen constituent may give people allergy, then you must indicate it, the batch number and nutrition information. And for the purpose of alcoholic products, the alcoholic strength is also very crucial, so that when people are taking it, if it's 10%, they know they are taking 10%. If it is 2%, they know they are taking 2%. Interpreting the nutrition information table. Like I said earlier, a typical nutrition information, you have the mandatory labeling, mandatory nutrients like protein, fat, carbohydrates, but there are other information too that you may add. For example, calcium and other constituents. But once you add them on, you must also substantiate them for analysis. So most typical nutrition information, you could see the serving size. You could see the serving size, is it per 100, or the entire caloric content of a particular package. You see all of them there, so pay attention to them, so that, for example, if you take 100 grams and the constituent of the energy is 32 out of it, you know, so that in case you are managing your weight, you are doing all those things, you know that if you take this particular product, this is the calorie you are taking per 100 gram. So where nutrition information is applied, it is mandatory to indicate the following, like I said: the energy content, the protein content, the carbohydrate content, fat content, and any other nutrient you make a nutrition or health claims. These are the notable food products that give allergy to some people. We have milk, we have eggs, we have fish, and others. So in most cases, some products by itself or in itself might not contain directly some of these mentioned products, but we also observe that in some products, because a particular manufacturer do a lot of production of different products, for the fact that there could be possible liaison of any of these things, sometimes as a matter of precaution, you could sometimes see caution statement indicate that this product may contain this. It does not mean it is there, but it's just to let the will-be consumer or buyer be aware, so that you take precautions. So, like I said, there are some voluntary requirements that are, some labeling are voluntary. It's not by force that's supposed to be there, but if you put them there, it gives more information to the buyer or the consumer. So it's like as a serving suggestion to deal with nutrition information where a nutrition or health claim has not been made. If you've not made any health claims, you don't necessarily have to put nutrition information. There's no mandatory. But if you make it, you go ahead to substantiate and declare all the mandatory one and put the figures on the label and substantiated scientifically with compositional analysis. You can also put pictures, graphics, but the pictures and graphics should not be false. Remember the principle of labeling, that it should be truthful. So, for example, if you put pictures of fruits on a product that doesn't contain fruits, it is false. It's misleading, because OB buyer will take an assumption that this contains actual fruits. That is why in our work, for example, you could see that when you put pictures of fruits on label, we tell you declare the source of the fruit. Is it coming from concentrate? Is it coming from the red juice? Or is it coming from a flavor which is of a natural source? If the pictures are there and your flavor is not a natural source but synthetic, by the general rules, you are not supposed to put them there. So though you have the right to put all those things as an option, they all come with stricter controls and regulations. So take note of them. Production method, for example, if you choose organic, yes, organic is a certification process. There are processes that you go through to make your product qualify as organic, to be described as organic, either as an ingredient or the production process itself. Therefore, if in your labeling, your listing of ingredients, you even indicate a particular ingredient is from organic source, you must justify that. And if by way of your branding, the organic is part of your product name, you must have a scientific basis, a certification to prove that your production processes or your farming process have been certified that the product that has come out has been done through organic, has gone through the organic way of producing them. Religious claims, halal, parev, kosher, all these things are beliefs. Therefore, if you put them there, you must bring certification evidence to justify that, include the ISO and the rest. Others may also come a vegan for vegetarians, and then health and nutrition and health claims. Some people want to market their food product to have a medical remedy. And it's one of the things that Codex, which Ghana is a member, and it's one of the standards that we use to regulate, we get the frowns on. You can primarily, you cannot market a food product to have a medical effect. You cannot market a food product to impart it. There's so many things you need to be healthy, including good eating habits, the consistency of the food, then the balance of nutrition, in terms of exercising, adequate sleeping. You need so many things to be healthy. Therefore, a single product in itself cannot be described to impart or give health. All these things are regulated, but mostly people just see such weddings on general other products. So once they also do their product, they just pick it and put all those things there. One thing you should know that all those things there are inherent as law and science. The science is that you must to justify compositionally, which will bring you cost. And the law is that it should be proven to be actually what it is. So take note of these things. So this is the flow chart of how our registration processes are. You have to apply officially to the CEO, and then when the product comes, in terms of lab analysis, 2 ways. You have to, by the processes, submit your own documentation laboratory. You also do our internal confirmatory laboratories by our laboratory. We do evaluation of your documentation, and you shouldn't forget the documentation you bring should be truthful, should be honest, should be accurate. It should not be false, it should not be misleading. And then we look at also those, and also look at the premises where the food is coming from. Does it meet GMP standards? How are your processes in terms of people who are coming to direct contact with the food? Have they been cleared of any transmittable diseases? Are they free of them? Is the general hygiene, sanitation of the facility, is it clean? Are the place being word of insect, ingress of insects and all those things? All these things, FDA will look at them. And then when you put all this together in a single basket after the evaluation, and if FDA is satisfied once again that you satisfy all these requirements, then we have no reservation than to grant you market authorization. So there are 4 main decision level when after the evaluation. You may get approval, full approval comes to certificate. What it means is that you've satisfied all the requirements, the compositional analysis, safety, which is microbiology, chemical, physical, in terms of labeling, you've met all the labeling requirements, date markings, all those things are met. And in terms of the GMP for our local products, you've met it. And our warehouses for imported products, you've met it. When this is done, then you get a full approval with certificates. But when you've met all safety requirements, statutory requirements, and then there are minor infractions, like for example, your net weight, if you not put it in the SI unit as required, or if not even put it there, then it's a minor infraction. It does not bear on the safety. We will give you some time to correct it. So that's when we give you conditional approval. Deferral means the safety of the product is in question. Either the test you've done exceeds the acceptable limit of microbiology or physicochemical and other contaminants like pesticide residue, mycotoxins. If exceed the acceptable limit, we will not allow you. If some, as a matter of policy with fortification, if the product is supposed to be fortified and if not fortified them, we will not allow you because we expect the general population to be feeding on a certain level of micronutrients at a given time. Therefore, if you allow such products which are not be fortified to go into the market. What it means that some may be under feeding of all those essential micronutrients. So the federal, the safety and other requirements, that borders of policy like national policy like I've said, which FDA enforces. So we get different. Rejection is when it's proven that you falsify your some documents in the application, falsify, or there's a grievous infraction on the product that you submit, then we will reject the application. Then any product or application that's rejected goes for more further investigation, and when you come back into conformance, you have to start the whole application process again with the payment of the required fee. So in summary, this is the processes. Now, let's look at some of the scientific basis that we use in arriving at our decision in terms of the labelings. You shouldn't forget labeling. Some labeling issue can also have compositional effect, like the nutrition information is labeling, but at the same time has a compositional effect. So we have used the LI 1541, which is labeling legislation, and LI 1667, which is strictly for the enforcement of national policy on exclusive breastfeeding. By law, by policy, as a country, you cannot offer any food to an infant under the age of 6 months, and we should FDA strictly ensure that we comply. And those of you who, by nature of your product, you target such group within the population, you have more stricter regulation and control under the LI system, including pictorial, putting up pictures on those things. It could be in other babies or any animation or anything that suggests or to encourage parents with feeding our children with infant formula instead of giving them the breast milk, naturally giving breast milk, which is sterile, which contains all the nutrients that our children need, we will not allow. So there's a stricter regulation on those products. We call it a designated product. So please take note of that. Also use Ghana standards. Basically, Ghana Standard Authority is the national custodian of standards. It's our first reference point of the work we do. So that is the standards we use. FDA is not in isolation. We are part of the global body at the WHO, FAO, and CODES level. Therefore, CODES standards play a crucial role in the work we do. We use them. Okay. And they also use a body of scientific institution which works under any, for example, CODES that I've said, JECFA, Joint Expert Committee on Food Additives. These are experts which actually do a lot of work on all additives that comes out in the food we eat. So there's a scientific data on all additives that you see that people use either as a preservative, as a thickener, as whatever. There's always a scientific basis to be used. So we use all those information and other international standards. Don't forget, food products through R&D, it comes in on a daily basis. Therefore, the truth is that industry is always ahead of regulation everywhere. Therefore, when new products are coming in food term, you call them novel food, novel products that are coming. If you require that to bring your own scientific data to justify certain claims, certain formulations, we will, by the rules, require that we bring all those additional information. So we use a whole amount of body of science available locally and internationally to arrive at a decision that put the public safety safe. So this is a summary of what I said. Approval, I've explained all of them. I will move on. And then conditional, I've explained. Deferral, I've explained. Rejection, then, yeah. So these are some of the consequences or the communication generally that we write to our cherished clients. For example, if applicants shall be cautioned not to import, export, or manufacture food product until the outstanding issues are addressed. If you check our letters or our communication generally for our clients, if you don't have full approval, condition deferral, it always comes to the address A, B, C, D within 3 months. And then next on the applicant shall have a maximum of 3 months to address them if you fail, because you don't want the registration process to be too lengthy to deter anybody. So all of us, both the regulators and the applicant, pay our requirements. We've given ourselves 3 months to get everything sorted out. Therefore, after the evaluation, we give you 3 months to address all issues. If for whatever reason you cannot finish within the 3 months, then you have to communicate to FDA. If not, by default, what it means is that the process has ended and you have to start the entire process and pay the requisite fee again. For food products renewal, the food is in question shall be withdrawn if there is some infraction and it's on record. The FDA has done a lot of product records from our market for non-compliance. And let us take note of this. As a regulatory body, and this is global, FDA or any other regulatory agencies whose mandate is to ensure public health and safety on food products reserve the right to call for a recall of product, even on suspicion, because at any given point, it's a public health that is of paramount interest. Therefore, even on suspicion of possible or potential or contamination, FDA can call on industry to recall your product, withdraw a product from market without even scientific basis, so that we will continue with the test. And the reason is that if you are suspicion of something has happened and you don't do that, by the time you finish all your investigation and the product have been consumed, what do you know the implication? Therefore, we should take note of this. Even on suspicion of possible contamination, FDA can trigger product recall without actually bringing you initial scientific data. The FDA shall notify the public accordingly where the applicant fails to comply with this directive. And it's one of the most difficult things every regulator wants to do because the implication on the market. Therefore, we encourage all our applicants to cooperate, let us all judge and get compliance so that it doesn't give FDA any reason to call publicly for anybody to record their product from the market at your own cost. Take note, please. So rejection, and you should also take note that you can also be subject to prosecution and any other regulatory sanction that is applicable. So basically, in summary, from our data, these are some of the notable issues that borders on the application submit. So for example, names of, like I said, you have the right to put your brand name, but certain name comes with stricter regulation. For example, notably our cherished alcoholic producer, the bitters in general, because traditionally we know bitters have medicinal effect. The intent is that these products still wanted to be marketed in that manner, but in food regulation, the rules are clear. You cannot market or advertise, including labeling, pictorial, weddings, any product to have medicinal effect. And this is where mostly the herbal bitters people are challenged. Therefore, they come with names like Seho, Faber, and mostly they are the local languages, okay, in the guns, in the tree, and house, and all those things. FDA check all those things. And if any name is notably known to have connote what we call negativity, especially sexual prowess, and it affects general public sensitivity, our rules are clear. We will not allow you. So please, let's take note of that. Issue with ingredient declaration. For example, you may have a product that will have tomato paste as an ingredient. Tomato paste is a compound ingredient. Therefore, per declaration, if you put tomato paste there, you put into brackets just after the tomato paste, maybe tomato concentrate, salt, or whatever the tomato composition that is. So take note of that. Batch numbers, like I said, also an issue. And also nutrition information. For a regulator, we can trace product anyway. There are so many channels or information you can trace product. But batching ostensibly is in the interest of the manufacturer to put the batch there. If you don't put it there, like I rated earlier, and something happens, you clear everything on the market. But tracing a particular product on the market, there are so many means that as a regulator we can trace to the manufacturer, the ingredients that added them and everything. But if it's not there, you are more at risk than the regulator. Date markings, very crucial for for the product, especially highly perishable food. Is it going to be expiry, best before, all those things depend on the product in question, specific markings also there. Okay. So, good to know points regarding food product registration. FDA don't, for the purposes, this one is food. For food registration or food regulation, we don't allow monopolistic registration, and I will explain. Some products, especially imported products, some people may have a contract with a particular company A in a particular country, giving exclusive right to import and market and sell its product in Ghana. Therefore, they always bring, as part of the application, they have the power of attorney to be allowed exclusively to sell these products. FDA don't allow that because of food regulation. It's more about food security. Therefore, we don't want, as a matter of policy, that we don't regulate by that. So FDA allow what you call para-registration of food products. Therefore, you could see the particular product will come from the same brand, I'll mention the name, come from different countries globally. We register them, but we have a system that's able to track who is bringing who. So that is how food is regulated. We don't allow power of attorney, which bring monopolistic control of the market as individual company. FDA does not, okay, after that, the point 2, unregistered product will not be granted clearance at the port of entry. Importers are advised to complete the registration process before products are brought into the country. So, like I said, the section 97.1, you cannot import unless the product is registered. You cannot distribute, you cannot retail, but the law allows you to bring small numbers for the purpose of registration to register. If you bring unregistered product into the country, it comes with a lot of penalties, administrative issues, which become more costly to you. These are some of the things that ordinarily the businessman see it as our systems approach are cumbersome, are difficult. No. If you go by the rules, you wouldn't have any problem when your products arrive at the port. You have your code is entered into the system, and you go. But if your product is not registered, definitely we will not allow you to dump unregistered products onto the market. We will put a restriction, which we call detention, until FDA is satisfied that you've met all the requirements. And all this thing takes time. So please, take the time to register the product before you put them on the market to avoid all this today. For local manufacturers, we also advise to seek technical support from the authority. You have client services at the 10 regional offices, now moving to the 16. Our website is there. We have all these processes as we outlined over there. Our telephone numbers are there. We are actively on the social media. Put your questions there to our officers on sub-platforms and get adequate information so that we don't delay the processes. Other food regulatory activities that FDA do. In summary, we do investigation of consumer complaints. If somebody brings an issue that I bought this product has no date markings, I bought this product, this is that, FDA will actually investigate that and communicate back to the complainant, and also communicate back to whether the manufacturer or the importer, the reason and the outcome of the investigation and the necessary regulatory measures taken to address them. Inspection of retail outlets as part of our supermarket and general market to check that the products there are safe, they have date markings, all those things there are being sold and the recommended manufacturer's condition. We also do that. Consumer awareness is one of the reasons why we are sitting here today. Get closer to the consumer generally, get closer to the industry that we regulate so that we can all have the same understanding, the same platform to be able to do the work easily so that you can also enjoy the service of FDA with the same understanding. Inspection and licensing of agro produce and pack houses. Because for currently, it's one of the bridges that the Public Health Act add to the 305 1992 one. The definition of food in the 305B was restricted to prepacked food. Definition of food and the Public Health Act is food. So include our agro produce, with the vegetables, the fruits, and all those. And so now our pack houses are also checked to ensure that the fresh fruits and vegetables, eggs, and all those are actually clean. They are free of agrochemicals and also stored in a manner that will not cause the destruction or deterioration of the food. So we do all those things. So if you are in the business of agro produce and all those things, please come to FDA, engage us, and we will help you to bring your pack houses to the standard that will bring and keep the product integrity. Food service establishment, our catering services, our joints, job bars, and all those things. We also work with them and regulate them. Training of industry, industrial support department of all the divisions, food, drug, cosmetics, have a whole department known as industrial support, and their mandate and key job is to support the industry, to be able to bring them into compliance, to make the process easier, to get them to understand through training, either on-site or off-site. And even now that we are in this COVID situation, a lot of training are also being done through virtual, like we are even doing today, through courtesy of Fairmore's advisory. So please, let's take note of all these avenues available to upgrade, enrich, and enlighten our employees to be able to get our work done easily. Regulation of GMO. Currently, the GMO issue of regulation of GMO is still in Parliament, but there's a body, national body that FDA refers products that have issue of GMO to advisors. So that's why when you put a claim GMO free, you are required by the rules to substantiate. It must substantiate with science and evidence to show that the product is indeed a GMO free product. Advertisement vetting, yes. Until now, FDA is it's a household name in every house. There's no day passes that you wouldn't hear. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA, and you should take note that when we touch on labeling, I said that labeling should be truthful, should be accurate, should not create an erroneous impression that the product that one is buying is not of the nature. And labeling is advertisement, because that is what carries the product. Therefore, we check those ones, and also check advertisement in print, with the billboards, those that come in the newspapers, the audio and audiovisual, the TV and radio. We check all those things to make sure that the statements that you are putting there, the video that you are showing, is actually what the product is, and that you are not selling the product to the consumer in any other form. Yes, we also do installation of system like HACCP. FDA has certified and accredited officers who install HACCP for companies. So please, if we encourage people to get assigned to HACCP so that your food throw by yourself, because if you have a HACCP accreditation, you have a HACCP team who on a daily basis will be identifying possible hazard, and go see how they will go through to help you through control system that they put in place. So please take note of that. Now, going forward, we've come a long way traditionally, doing a lot of things through physical means, but FDA for the past 2 years has embarked on a lot of activities. That is, we want to move from physical means to online, adding technology to improve the work we do. So for the last 2 years, these are some of the things that we are working on. We are at the moment working on online registration, and you can see those of you who submit application to us already started experiencing some of them. When you put in application at FDA, two things happen. One, when the application is received at the client service and it is entered into our system, the platform we use for our evaluation, you get initial SMS indicating that FDA has received your application. And when finally, when all the evaluation processes are completed and a status, either approval or conditions are signed, you get SMS indicating that the product has been registered and it's a conditional approval status. Okay, so this is the level where we are now, but we want to go further. We are, by the end of the year, we are working towards moving our processes from offline to online. And when that happens, you can apply for registration online. You can track your application based on the reference that currently we give you when we receive your application. You can use that same reference to track where every stage of the process is online. We also give an access to applicants, the portal, to enter your application with all the information as required, uploaded on them, and you can make payments online and submit the physical product through courier or whoever, drop it in and go away. And you can also do that. In anticipation of that, last year, our entire regional offices have been trained on our entire evaluation processes so that we will bridge the gap. The time that it takes for applications to be moved from regions to Accra will no longer be there. The regions will feed onto the same portal that you are grant access to do your entries. They will have access to evaluate the products so that we can move on. In all this, what it means is that we are shrinking the time that is wasted on the processes to near zero so that we can bring more efficiency, more speed, at the same time not compromising on safety, which is our mandate to ensure that the product we put out there are safe. Ultimately, the register that you have on our website is currently done manually. We update it every week. But ultimately, when we are done with the electronic processes, the register is going to be a red time. So as and when we are entering and assigning status and all those things, automatically it will be online for you to access. FDA have also observed that our clients, primarily, most of them are very cottage, very small. Therefore, historically, they find challenges to register, and we understand, because on the face of our work, you see the processes, you read, it's basically English. But I always say that inherent in the English is science and law. So as cottage, as small at that level, find it difficult. We know and we understand. So at the moment, we have reviewed our entire processes to make sure that there is a minimum criteria that the cottage industry could meet. So if you could observe, for the past few years, you could see so many local products, cereal mix, garri mix, shito, you see on the market. You can check. This all because of the risk-based approach that we apply to our processes, which is science-based, not putting the safety and the quality of the product at risk at the expense of the consumer. And through that, a lot of these products have been registered. So all that we are saying that the cottage industry, please don't think FDA activity is meant for some category of people. Coincidentally, if you look at the last slide in the picture there, this is a designated area, branded area of some of our supermarkets. Last year, FDA, together with some of the lead supermarkets, notably Palace, Kuala, and others, as part of the 6th anniversary National Independence Celebration, started a project made in Ghana goods. So these pictures you see, so now when you go to most of these supermarket, either you can hardly even identify or find any Ghanaian product there. Through our CEO discussion with the supermarkets, there's they came to a conclusion. And that is why now when you go to our supermarket, you see a branded, designated, dedicated area for made in Ghana products. And through that, we see that through the discussion, some of the cottage industry, and the work was actually based on cottage industry, just to give them the market access, to give them the opportunity to also access such a market. So through that, you can see that when you go to such supermarket, you see all these small cottage products there. And these are not products coming from factories, just cottage, small ones. So what means that whatever you are producing, you can so make the requirement. It's about getting closer. And we don't, but through that engagement, FDA have even moved further from its routine way of just registering. Now, granting and helping the cottage industry to get access to the market. So please, let's take note of this. In conclusion, food regulation and that matter, food safety, is everybody's responsibility. Like I stated, every product that you put on the market, even your own home, for your personal use, it is your responsibility to make sure it is safe. As other industry, even if you are offering for sale, if you are offering as a gift for your own family, it is your responsibility. FDA's job is to coordinate, is to assist, is to harmonize, to ensure that the processes, the processes and how you go around your food production are safe for the consumers. So you have equal responsibility. In fact, the industry has a higher responsibility as the one who primarily duty is putting the food on the market. We also have equal responsibility to ensure that the product is safe by ensuring compliance, the standards, all the regulations that we set. That ultimately, somebody can pray for you, somebody can intercede for you, but nobody can tell you the food you put in your mouth and your stomach. Ultimately, the consumer, you have the ultimate responsibility to ensure that the food you eat, is it coming from a very hygienic place? Take some few minutes, few seconds, at least take basic information. Is the date marking okay? The condition that the product is supposed to be stored, is it where it's being stored? Is it how it's being stored? And you are buying it. You have ultimate responsibility. When the industry have done their bit, when regulator has done its bit, and when the consumer has done a bit, then we can all be certain and be assured that we can all go and sleep to be assured that the market, the product we have out there is safe. FDA, your well-being is our priority. Thank you very much.
Because when we look at the fee schedule, we have fees for African countries, and then we have fees for importing from other countries. But there is one particularly singling out Nigeria. So they want to know why Nigeria is singled out of the African countries. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, I will pick the last one first. Nigeria is not singled out. Nigeria regulation is at the bilateral level. So the same way, if products that are also sent to Nigeria for purposes of market authorization is also the same. So that is how come Nigeria is there. But also in terms of the products that attract site verification, it is the high risk products. The first one is what? Application letter. Yeah, the application letter. That is okay. Let me keep it. The content of application letter is basically communicating or writing to the Chief Executive Officer, Food and Drugs Authority, that I want to register these products. You list them. You indicate the name. You attach the application form which you fill. So you say that I'm applying for registration of these products. And then you attach the documents as I explained earlier, the your company registration documents, application that you fill indicating all the information as per the application form, the quantity of products as per the schedule of lab product required for lab analysis, and then you sign out. That's all. It's simple. You don't need to make it so complex. Just a normal weddings. I'm applying to register my products. Find, attach A, B, C, D. That's all. You are done.
Okay. Thank you very much. And we also want to know the process for registering choba and restaurants. Can you touch on that?
Yes. We don't register choba. We license the facility of the what call it, the facility of the chobas. We exercise that in collaboration with the district assemblies. Like I said earlier, our work cuts across every sector of our being. The hotels, the normal restaurants, and then our markets, the chobas. So chobas, mostly those that are in the markets or the districts, we work with them. So if you check most of the chobas, you might see FDA actually certificate indicating that the kitchens have been inspected, the people who actually directly come into contact with the cooking have been certified by the district health directorate of the various assemblies to be free from any transmittable diseases. So that is how we work. We work through the district assemblies on the chobas because they actually own them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Percy. Mr. Percy, please, someone would also like to know approximately how long does it take to get a food product registered?
We have 6 weeks, 30 working days. That is the charter we have with our clients, and the 30 days means that the date you submit the application, that we key and you get your reference number. By that 30 days, you should get a feedback from FDA. But let's take note of this. Most of the applicants, when they say timeline, they are only looking at the timeline, the time they get their full approval certificate. If you put in the application and all the process that you've gone through, everything is set, and you put them in, by the 30 days, you get it. But unfortunately, some of them, like, because they've not done work, they just brought anything to FDA to register, you will still get the feedback for the 30 days, but the feedback might not grant you the market authorization. That is where then they will say that you are delaying, the process is cumbersome. But the 30 days, you get a communication from FDA, which could be either approval, conditional deferral, or at most rejection. That's when you get it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Percy, another question. Assuming you are importing raw materials to manufacture a product, and those raw materials like rice, wheat, to produce maybe a cereal mix, do you have to register the raw materials? And then after your manufacturing or your production of the cereal mix, also register the cereal mix with FDA? Or with the raw materials importation, you don't have to register it, but then register the final products after your manufacturing?
Thank you. You are not supposed to register ingredients or materials go into production. So, but you must establish, because there are 2 levels of groups who import. Some import those, as you listed, rice, sugar, additives, to sell generally in that nature to manufacturers or the cottage industries or the others. So if you are bringing them in, purposely for your own production, you don't register them. It's a matter of proving to FDA that you have one. You should have. There's evidence you have a factory. You have a production system to be important. So once that one is there, FDA will not bother you for any registration. But what FDA will be interested in is that it should still, the ingredients coming should still come with documentation indicating that those products, the ingredients by itself are of good quality and safe before it go into your production. So we still require all those scientific information to be accompanied with your raw material that go into your production. But FDA will not charge you and will not even register it because it's not meant to be sold directly onto the general market. But if you bring them directly to be sold on the market, that one you have to register.
Okay, thank you very much. And we also want to know if certificate of analysis is supposed to be done by FDA or the manufacturer.
It is the duty of whoever produce food to tell us that this is, you know your product better than anybody. So it's your duty to test it, to have all those scientific information. FDA, what FDA does, like I said, is confirmation. We also have our internal control system, quality control, have a whole accredited laboratories with a wide range of scopes. So we will also test, but primarily you presenting the product to FDA have to have evidence that you've done all ABC as per the standard and you submit it. We will do our own further investigation and testing as part of the evaluation process before arriving at a decision. So yes, you have to. If you do not have them as part of the importation process, there are a lot of accredited laboratories or laboratories of high repute around GSA, there, Food Research is there, the universities and other laboratories. You can get them, test your products for you, and then submit them along. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. I would like to put these two questions together, and then you answer it for us. So FDA actually wants people to put the FDA badge numbers at the front of the sachet or whatever products they are having. But people think that most customers they know that the badge numbers or the nutrition information and everything is provided at the back of the sachet. So why does FDA want them to put it in front of the sachet? And secondly, if you are a local manufacturer, do you have to still indicate the country of origin on your products?
Okay, thank you. Let me start from the last. Yes, let me start from the last. You do not have to put country of origin in the country the product is made in Ghana. But you see, you should also not be thinking about Ghana. The market is big. You should be thinking outside Ghana. So if you produce in Ghana and you don't put made in Ghana there, we don't have a problem. But if you take it outside the country, somebody, the other competent authority might require that the general population will want to know where the product is coming from. Therefore, if you put it there, so far as FDA is concerned, it's okay if you don't put it there. You are cutting your own business in the confine of our Ghanaian market. We don't have problem. Now, coming to the issue of putting FDA number in front of the what you call the brand, we will call it professionally front of pack or principal display panel. Yes, you see, every country regulates based on all circumstances information available. Let me cite this example. We all know that reading is a challenge. I wouldn't say it's a problem in their country. We also know that if, for example, if you take Europe, 95% of all consumers in Europe, when they pick products, they read the label before they buy, which is where we are working towards to. Trust me, how many of us at the point of purchase of food turn the product back and read all these things? The essence of ensuring that the consumer see the product at a glance as you shelve it on your on shelf, or as it sits there, as you have paraded it, or what it is. See that if the product is registered, without going to pick the product, looking at obscure places where you can't even see it. And like I said, based on the circumstances we find ourselves as a country, we want to encourage the general public, consumers, to see that the product there, as an institution being mandated to do, is doing it. And at a glance, they should see. So yes, we want the number to be where at the glance of the product will be seen by the consumer. Therefore, there can never be any other place that the number should be than the principal display panel. And I think it shouldn't be a problem. And that is why, because of engagement, because we work with our industry, we started communicating to the industry almost a year now. So now if you see every letter that you write to the industry, display this at this place, it's run for a year now. For now, it's information, it's also a directive. But very soon, we will start applying straightness to ensure that it is there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jim. We also want to know if you can tell us how date markings are done on products.
Okay. Date markings, yes. Per our regulation, see, some countries have different way. Some will have year, month, day. Others will have month, day, year. For Ghana, it's day, month, year. So you see DD, MM, YY. So day, month, year. That is the format. Now, some products, by its nature, by way of compositional, the composition, the risk factors that predispose certain product to deterioration, they have short shelf life. Those products comes with date markings like best before, no, used by, okay, used by. So it means beyond that date, some products cannot be used. And some products are those that have short shelf life. Products like fresh juices that haven't gone through pasteurization, fresh juices that haven't, you have not added any additives. They are very short shelf life. And vegetables and those things that have been packed through minimal processing. They are very short. So you are told by the date markings that used by this, so specific. Others will say best before. Best before tells you that beyond this date, the product has lost its market legal basis to be on the market. It's not of the best of the in terms of quality and then organoleptic testing, but it will not necessarily pose risks to you compared to a product whose date marking says you that used by. So these are the two main approaches that you have to use, and it is governed by the product composition, as I've explained, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Kwesi, can you also tell us, with this COVID-19 situation, how is FDA going about site inspection?
Well, we are applying both technology and then also physical. Yes, we've reviewed our processes, a lot of site verification. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, okay, yes. So for site verification, you shouldn't forget this. FD have been working for over 20-something years, and we've done a lot of visits to most of these companies. Some is renewed every 3 years. So yes, we will not, and practically nobody can stop businesses from operating. So if COVID has brought challenge to all of us, it doesn't mean FDA is not going to do site verification. For the purposes of the registration and other things, we are using the race-based approach to register the products on the market, but definitely the site verification will come. Aside that, there are other, I'm saying, information that you need to gather through your production processes, and FDA takes all those information and review them as part of the registration process. Yes, so all requirements in respect to site verification that is applicable to some segment of application is still fully enforced, and it must be complied with. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Percy.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yes, if you want to change the specification you have on your product, which is already registered, what process do you go through?
Yes, when we register your product, if you look at and pay attention to the content of your letter, there's always a statement that you cannot vary composition, labeling, even a word or a letter on the label. You cannot do that without prior approval from FDA. This tells you that we anticipate that change is part of the process. All that you need is to communicate to FDA that if you change maybe composition, if you're taking this additive or add this ingredient, just communicate to FDA. If required, they have to do analysis to validate the composition. Just let's have those data. If it's just a change in labeling of weddings or company name, other things, just write to FDA, bring samples of the new product label to FDA, and we'll reevaluate it. And if it still satisfies the requirements, why not? We will allow you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we also want to know for how many staff will qualify a company to be categorized as a medium or a large scale, a local manufacturing company.
Okay, like I explained earlier, in this case, I'm only picking the numbers without bringing other factors. So if for staff,
Okay.
it could be 1 person, 2, 3. It should be okay. But if you bring factors like production volume, I can assure you may have a company with just a staff of 5, but the tonnage of products they will put there, it will shock you. It could be about technology. If your system is automated, even 1 person can sit there, and the volumes of products you will see out there, it will shock you. But that's why when you want to define the quantity just by 1 factor, you will have a challenge. You will have to look at the size of the numbers of employees. Definitely a cottage industry. Cottage is cottage. It could be just 1 or up to 3 people doing their own small business. But if you start going high, then definitely, and if it's cottage, definitely it means your activities are very basic. Therefore, if you don't even need that more numbers, as the more the numbers increases, then obviously you'll be moving to the small, medium. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. And for a situation where you have a local foreign trade, you have a local and a foreign trade relation, who is responsible to register a product? Is it a procuring company or the manufacturing company?
Okay, for us, our ultimately it is the whoever fills the form and applies for it. Okay, If you look at our registration application, you define who an applicant is. It is a body corporate, a company. Okay. So for food, primarily it is a one who actually deals in the business of importation. I know some other FDA regulated products. It's quite slightly different because, for example, drugs. It is a manufacturer that owns the brand. So that one, the power of attorney and those things comes in. So that one deals with, that is where the scenario the person is picking. But food, like I said earlier, because of food security, because you don't allow monopolistics to not to, bring shortages and those things, registration of food is para. Therefore, basically, the importers who are doing registering, yes, the manufacturers are not physically as agents to do that. But unlike the other pharmaceutical regulated product where the brand owner is to the manufacturer. And it's because of, like I said, let's put that in context and perspective. Food is food security. You cannot go without food, but other things you can go without. So these are the little different. For the food, it is straightforward. And for the local, if you are a local manufacturer, definitely they are registering their own product. So it's the same manufacturer with the same applicant. But for imported food, mostly it's the importers who register them. But we still have traceability as who is the importer, who is the manufacturer, because the documentation that you go to capture all those things. So in terms of traceability, you can trace the product to the manufacturer. That one shouldn't be a problem.
Thank you very much. And with the nutrition information, someone is asking, you mentioned it is not mandatory, but FDA is always pushing them to state whatever ingredients they have in their product on the label. So how do we address that?
There is difference between ingredients and nutrition information. The ingredients are basically the various constituents you put together. So, for example, like I said, let's pick my basic cereal mix. Some may have a combination of sorghum, rice, peanut, soya. So, by ingredient listing and declaration, you just list them. But when you are talking about nutrition information, you are looking at the product as a unit. You've how do you call it? You've blended it, or you blend it. You are getting a homogenized or a mixture as a unit, where you cannot separate peanut from rice, from sorghum, from millet. Therefore, if you say that 100 grams of this particular cereal mix, you cannot chemically separate rice from peanut. But in terms of nutrition, at what energy you are getting from the composite of the product, that is what we are calling about. That's the nutrition. The nutrient you are getting from the product mixture is different. That's one reason. That one is not mandatory. But just telling the consumer, my cereal mix contain rice, beans, and that one you have to do. That one is mandatory. You have to be there. They have to know. But if nutrition information, for example, take 100 grams and you are going to get 35 grams as nutrient, that one we are saying is not mandatory. But when you put it there, then the rules are clear. You must go further to put the remaining mandatory one, like I mentioned earlier, protein, fat, carbohydrate, or sugar, and those ones there, and the energy, and then go further to substance sheet. So there are two different things. One is just let us know the ingredients. The other one is if you want to let people know the energy, that the nutrient that people are getting, then definitely you must put those ones there. So there's clear distinction between nutrition and ingredients.
Thank you very much, Mr. Percy. Finally, we also want to know if there are any softwares to support your process, so that people think they will have to be able to track their processes whilst with you, to avoid it being altered by any other person? Is there anything like that?
Could you come again? I couldn't get it clearer.
Okay, so he's asking how the software supports your process, so that in the process flow, where they have submitted registration documents, they will be able to track the registration so that the documents will not be altered by any other person.
Well, there's no way anybody can alter anybody's application, whether using technology or even physical. That is why when you apply you put the application, we deal with corporate entities. So, for example, if Percy have put in application to FDA, there's no way Marian can come and make inquiry about the application. We will not allow you. But for the purpose of transparency and also to deepen transparency and also to make it accessible so that applicants can follow the processes, which we ourselves, like I said in the last slide, the way forward is application of technology to our work to make it more transparent. So, for example, like I said, currently there are 2 levels of communication with the applicant, still at technological level through SMS. When you submit the application, you get SMS that FDA have received your application with a reference number to you. And when we finish the evaluation process, immediately we assign status and 4 levels of status. But those that comes with registration numbers, you automatically get another SMS. So already there's technology being applied. But we are moving in further to move the application from offline to online, where, for example, with your reference number, you can see that, okay, this application today is at the client service where the document was received. The following maybe 2 days, you can see that, okay, it is at the department being evaluation is in progress. You will see another 2 days, you can see that yes, it has gone for a meeting or all the controls has been done. It is at the registration. At the registration means I've done all the work. Now, looking at other inputs that will come for us to assign the status. So this is what the transparency, we want to use technology to bring it up, to bring improve the communication and interaction between the applicant, so that you don't spend man hour coming to FDA office anywhere just to find out that what is the stage of my application. It's a waste of anybody's time. We don't want that, and the applicants also don't want that, and especially in the conditional circumstances we have. It's good that FDA have actually even been ahead of the challenges we are having. So yes, very soon, and very soon wouldn't take us more than a year. That one, I know where we've gone in between the submission and the evaluation process. You should see, track and know all the stages. And then finally, when we assign status, the update of the register is real time. So you can easily go on our website, key in your product, your reference number will be there, telling that the product is registered. So yes, we are almost there. It might also come as part of the processes. You might even not need to come to FDA to even come for a certificate. It can be there because you are part of the processes. You can print it out and then you move on. So we are working towards that, and it will not take us more than a year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Percy. All right. So the final question will be for you to tell us if on your website we'll be able to see all the products that have been registered already with FDA, and also if we'll be able to know all the types of products that can be registered or people are allowed to register in that. Is that information available on your website?
Yes. You can see the website is being upgraded. You could see a lot of the processes that we've just gone through together. Our clients will know that a lot of them have been changed as part of the review process. So yes, Then the website is working. Sometimes you go, they'll tell you it's being maintained, means they are adding things and doing those things. So the register is yes, it's there. But like I said, for now it is not real time. We update it weekly. But as part of the technology that we are attaching to the process, which I'm saying we wouldn't go beyond a year, we will move to the real time, where immediately, I mean, real time means it will be updated as and when we are adding on and registering the products. But the register is there. Yeah, you can find them. And all the documentation that I've said, the registration, application forms, the requirements, our guidelines, all those things are the website. And there is one of the slides also tells us how you even navigate through our website. So it is there. Your members can have it, and then maybe we can put it back, and maybe we can go through how they can navigate there. It's part of the slides that you presented.
Okay, so thank you very much. This actually brings us to the end of the section, the workshop, the regulatory compliance workshop opportunity, for having time to be with us and to share with us the insights on how to get our food products registered with the Food and Drugs Authority, taking us through all the processes with labeling and everything we need to know. We are so much grateful for your time. We also want to thank our risks and Araba Kumsen for the great presentation on data in Ghana, some of the areas that people can look at, what people are actually spending on in Ghana, so that they can make informed choices. We also want to thank you all our participants for joining this webinar. We apologize for the inconveniences from the beginning with the technical problems, and we believe that you have been blessed, you've been educated, and you have been given insight on all that you need to know about food registration with the Food and Drugs Authority. We are Famous Advisory Limited, as my partner mentioned from the beginning. If you have any concerns, you can still address it to us. You can send us an email. If you need our support in getting your product being facilitated, you can also reach out to us. From business registration, I would want to mention that some couple of questions came in, and they were asking about the processes. They had to mention that you would have to first register your business with Registrar General's Department before you could register your product. So if you are an individual seeking to register your product and you want to know what other processes you have to go through before, this is one of them. And Famous Advisory is also available to help you register your business if you want to be free and then allow us to do the runarounds for you to get your business registered. If you have any issues in relation to work permits, getting visa on arrivals for your clients or for anyone coming into the country to stay to work, you can always reach out to Famous Advisory. We are always available to support you and to take you through all the regulatory compliances in Ghana. Thank you very much, our viewers on Facebook, and we are open 24/7 to all your questions. Thank you.